Hello, this is Jekyll Knight. Hello, Jekyll Knight here. I decided that today I'm going to talk about Wrestling Jesus and all of the Rock supporters that have been attacking Wrestling Jesus just because he made a video bashing The Rock. Wrestling Jesus has been making a lot of video responses defending himself, mainly against Danielson 184. I'm not too sure what his current account is. I think he has like Danielson 184 rants. I've seen a couple of his videos, and I figured that I'd give my opinion on the whole situation from my perspective. And I'm probably going to be perceived as a WJ sheep just because I agree with some of his points. Now, I don't see why people are going so fucking batshit crazy because Wrestling Jesus has been bashing The Rock. And do I like The Rock? Yeah, I like The Rock. Is WJ's opinions and his statements going to change how I feel about him? Not really, no. Am I going to hate Wrestling Jesus because he made a negative opinion about The Rock? Fuck no. That is his right. That is his opinion. He has the right to bash whoever the fuck he wants. Why should anyone get mad for someone else's opinion? And with Wrestling Jesus, I agree with a lot of the stuff he says, you know. Basically, he talks the truth, and he has opinions, and I think WJ said something like, you know, a lot of people will agree with him, which I do. A lot of people might disagree with him, which I do. You know, everyone's different, everyone has opinions. And just because someone agrees with WJ on his stance, that doesn't make him a sheep. I know myself, I like The Rock. WJ right now doesn't. But I'm not going to discredit any of his arguments on why he doesn't like him, because they're basically the truth for the most part, you know. Some of them might be his opinion, but basically you can't really counter anything WJ says. And I still like The Rock, but this is the way I see it between like Danielson's arguments and WJ's arguments. Danielson has really good points, you know. He compares stuff and be like, well, if he doesn't like this, why is all this, blah blah. He puts a lot of logic into his arguments, and they're good arguments. But as WJ has said, they do not counter anything he said, you know, and basically what that is called manipulation. It's when you take a lot of facts, put them with other facts, and make yourself look really like you know what you're talking about, and then you claim that, oh, I own someone because I made these points, when in reality, they don't really mean shit. They just mean you made really good points, but they don't counter any other points, and this is what Wrestling Jesus has been getting on all of his videos, but I don't know how many Danielson has made. I've only seen like one and a half, then I got bored and turned it off. He's made like a shitload of responses, and this is my opinion. If you're going to dislike something someone said, make one fucking video. Not bashing the other person's opinion, not discrediting their opinion, not saying they're a freaking idiot, nothing. Just say your opinion and give facts for your opinion and leave it at that. Is that so fucking hard? I mean, I think that YWC just wants drama, and that's kind of what's happening, you know. Now that I have a wrestling channel, I am a member of the YWC. And I think to myself, why the fuck did I get involved in this? Why? You know, why didn't I just keep wrestling on my main channel? You know, the YWCs, or there's good people on there, then they're like, weird people. But then you have a few fucking psychotic motherfuckers that just ruins it for everyone. That goes and just, you know, trolls everyone, flags people's shit for no apparent reason, harasses people on multiple accounts. I mean, whatever though. I know the thing Wrestling Jesus gets attacked on the most is a year and a half ago when he did his 9/11 crew. And yes, it was a joke. He was kidding. He didn't say he was a terrorist. But putting 9/11 in, like, you know, to bring shock value, in my opinion, he probably shouldn't have done that. But once again, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to hate Wrestling Jesus for anything he does. But once again, that's just my opinion. That's just what I think. Whether he agrees or disagrees, and I know he most likely does, that's perfectly fine. Because we're all entitled to our opinions. And I'm not going to hate Wrestling Jesus for anything he does or says. I can disagree, but I'm not going to bash him and try to, ruin his credibility with logical arguments that don't counter a damn thing he says. Just to try to get popularity, subscribers, blah blah, I guess one thing that Wrestling Jesus has been talking about are people that have been friends with him for so long and then just betray him like that for one opinion. And I think that's fucking bullshit. Because I don't know what Wrestling Jesus would do to get me pissed off. Probably nothing. And I always think about, when I used to give video responses to him, I'll probably start doing it more often since I'm starting this account. And he's helped me a lot, have my channel grow, him, Gemini, Boston Fan when he was doing a lot of wrestling videos. I'm thankful for all three of those, plus other people in the YWC for helping me out. And I'm not going to betray anyone just because they have an opinion. Just because I understand Wrestling Jesus and all the frustrations he's getting, that doesn't mean I'm a WJ sheep. I'll admit, there are WJ sheep that no matter what he's doing, if he's trolling, they're going to agree with him. And you can see like a couple people on the comments. A couple, maybe 3. Most of his, like the majority of his subscribers, he has over 4,000, are not like that. They're going to agree with stuff or they're going to disagree. Oh, and this is something else that I'd like to bring up, which I brought it up before on my old account. It's choosing sides. Why is it that if you agree with something like WJ said, oh, you're a WJ sheep, you're on this side. If you think, oh, I kind of like The Rock, you're on this side. There is no in-between. You're either one or the other. Where am I at? I'm in between because I don't play fucking sides. I think that's fucking stupid. But Americans like to do that in particular, like Democrats, Republicans, Ravens, 49ers. They choose a side. Why can't we just fucking respect other people's opinions on each side and be an individual, Anyways, I'm kind of ranting about the situation. But for my final thought, WJ has a lot of good points. He has, good valid arguments. And so far, no one's really countered it. And I'm not going to counter any of his arguments because I agree with basically all of them. However, that does not change my opinion about The Rock. I still like The Rock. He's not, like Steve Austin was back in the day, but he is entertaining. He's more entertaining than most of the current roster. He's not quite, Attitude Era-ish with his PG rants, but they're still more entertaining. The Raw concert wasn't all that good, but it was more entertaining than Hornswoggle popping out of Mae Young's fucking twat, if you know what I'm saying. So I do like The Rock, and not much is going to change that. I don't, worship The Rock. I like other superstars better than The Rock. But I do have respect for The Rock, even though he shows up once every so often. But in my opinion, all these freaking negative responses to WJ just because he bashed The Rock is getting way out of fucking control. I mean, it's been over a month now. Get over it. Shit. Anyways, that's all for this video. Jekyll Knight signing out.